Hey everyone! Hey, listen, we're back. Listen, before we get started, make sure if you guys are watching either on Facebook or YouTube or TikTok, make sure you guys follow us and subscribe today so you guys can continue to follow us on our social media platforms. Okay, now, today we thought, hey, there's so many different types of dating out there, so we thought we would just talk about the various types of dating. So let's get right to it. All right, so we got online dating. Damein, have you ever gone online and dating?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I think I'm on two apps right now. It could be more, but I'm on two. I'm on two apps, dating apps right now.
And how has that like experience been?
And it's hit or miss. Um, because with the sites that I'm on, if you swipe right, then that means yes. Swipe left, that means no. So periodically, when women are online, they're gonna have to swipe. If you swipe on one person's profile, then that whoever's online, whoever sees your profile picture, has to swipe right as well, and then you guys end up becoming a match. And that's specifically for Tinder, and POF, I believe. But and then after that's done, then if it's a match, then you and the lady will send each other a message. So it's like I said, it's hit or miss. So if you gotta hope someone likes your profile.
And
So
I mean, in your experience, do you feel like most people are honest?
man, like I said, man, that's hit or miss. I have my own techniques to determine whether a person's being honest or not. For example, and I talk about this in my book, The Game Advice, Dawn of the Prodigy, Volume 1. Pick it up on Amazon. Uh, Punch in my name, Damein, Damein Williams, and it'll pull up the book as well as my other books. Um, I talk about it as far as let me get into the gist of things. You always want you, you always want to study a woman's profile before you actually, whether you just send her a message or she ends up being a match with you. You want to look at her profile to see what she likes, what she doesn't like, and everything like that. One of the keys that I look for personally, and it's a deal breaker for me, is if a woman has one profile picture. Uh, what are you gonna do one profile picture? Also, lately and within the past few years, I would say on a if it's a fake profile, then they'll have something like a www, like sex for fun or snap for fun or whatever the case may be, to where it's a bot. And for those guys that are looking for fake pictures, you can see whether that pictures are fake just by determining if that girl's an Instagram model or if she's some kind of you know she's involved in porno.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
people will post those profile pictures up for those. So you have to be very careful because, like I said, I've talked to a lot of so-called girlfriends of mine, and they have the same problems too. But recently, I can tell you this: there are, as well as men, there are a lot of married women on there. So, me personally, I cut to the chase because it's an online dating app. So your goal is to see someone, look at their profile, see if their photos or their pictures are something that you would really want to, pursue. Then, send them a message. They respond back and forth, back and forth. But there's a time to cut that off because it is an online dating profile. So me personally, after we've been conversating for ever how long, I'll say, hey, well, listen, I'm going to offer you my number, call me or text me. Now, Here's where it gets interesting. If a woman says, "Oh, I'd rather just continue to conversate here online," and I don't give up my number that fast. I'm kind of like, what's the purpose of you being on an online dating app for? That's the whole thing, is for you to get to know someone, for you to get to exchange phone numbers. Well, things like that are big red flags, because a lot of women, believe it or not, are just there for attention. They're in a relationship, they have a boyfriend, they're married, or whatever the case may be. So you have to watch out for that. And I've ran into a lot of those. I like to cut to the chase. Here's my number. Call me or text me. So, but most times when I do give them my number, they will call or text, and so we'll just pick it up from there. But you have to be real careful with online profiles, because like I said, catfish. You know, you got to be careful with that, because some people will post up, like I said, pictures that aren't them, and you're reading their profile and it says they're skinny. You go meet up with them, they're just as big as a house.
Right.
And unfortunately, some people are like that. So for whatever reason, it's not right, but it's stuff that you have to look out for. So, like with me personally, online dating, like I said, it's hit or miss. Um, maybe one or two out of every 10 you actually get to conversate with, or exchange numbers with them, and set up a date for that. And I've asked many of my girlfriends, I said, well, how many messages do you get per day? For instance, a female might get probably like, what, 20 messages a day from guys.
Whoa.
Us guys, if we get lucky, maybe one or two, maybe if that.
20 messages.
Yeah. I mean, they get a lot, because there's a lot of thirsty guys out there. So, but it's really hit or miss. Like I said, it's something to have fun with. And I tell guys this all the time. Me personally, I like to meet a woman in person. I like to meet her in person instead of going on an online dating site, like whether it's the grocery store, the mall, or wherever. I like to just walk up to them, talk to them, say, get to meet them that way. So, because with online dating, there's a lot of scams, and people trying to run game. You have those people that are trying to get money out of you, those scams. And so, man, it's just, especially nowadays, maybe 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't this bad. But now,
And
good luck.
And you gotta watch out for the gold diggers. There's a lot of gold diggers out there.
A lot.
So online dating, now for a lot of people, it says here, I pulled an article just online on online dating. And it says that a lot of people, especially people that don't have much confidence, tend to go online dating because they don't have to really interact with person, but virtual. So I could see where online dating, for those that don't have much courage, could be something that they go to.
Right. And speaking of that, also a lot of times, people are caught up in their careers, and they don't really have time to go around and meet and greet people like that. So they're always on the road, where the case may be. So online dating, for them is really a good deal, to sign on to.
Wow. So not online dating. Now you guys let me know. I'd love to hear you guys' stories of your dating experiences online. So make sure you guys email me your stories at datingwithabear@gmail.com. And we will actually go over some of those nightmarish stories. Now, I was telling Damien that you got to watch out for the crazy ones that you meet online. Like, you don't want to go home and realize your cat's in the microwave, right? And you're in the bathroom and you hear the cat meowing. That's funny, I know, but that actually does happen.
Yeah.
So watch out for the crazy one. Now, I was thinking, what would be a good idea would be to get a prepaid phone. That way, if you give that number to them, if you end up with a stalker, they would just be ringing your other phone instead of your main phone for safety. And I thought, what a great, it used to be where you had the Obama phone.
Right.
So get yourself a prepaid phone. That way you're making sure that you're safe if someone ends up being a stalker or someone. Now, there are a lot of times, I think, if you meet someone and they text you 15 times in 2 hours or throughout the days, do you think that's a little overboard, Damein?
Man, that's way overboard. Like me personally, like I said, I always offer my phone number. I haven't ran into any women like that, but I'm knocking on wood. But that does happen. I've heard some cases of that happening. Guys, texting women 4 and 5 times a day. Sending them their private part pictures and all that. That's really uncalled for, especially when you're just trying to get a chance to meet someone.
Now, I would think that with somebody that does that, that ends up sending you those type of photos, you need to understand that's a red flag immediately because they're not really looking for a serious relationship. They're looking for alternative motives. So make sure that if you get people like that, don't even waste your time. Make sure that you actually take time to get to know somebody with the profile, like Damein was saying, because so much of the time people don't take time to really. And if you get one picture, you know what that tells me? They're from Russia. And they're wanting you to get into the United States with one picture. Now, that happens too, David. You have a lot of people out there that end up putting their profile picture, and actually they're from Russia or some foreign land that they want an opportunity to be here. So realize you are going to, especially if you're looking. Now, is all your online dating, is that all in the United States?
Yeah. Most 99% of it is. Now, on occasion you do get those women from overseas, but it's rare because on a lot of those online dating apps, it has your location of where you're located, and once you sign on to one of them, you can pick the geographic area or however many miles you're willing to commute and things like that. So a lot of that is already set in stone. So you're really meeting people that are around your area.
Now, the other thing that you have to watch out for, now I have my bear notes with me, but the other thing you have to watch out for is people that falsely claim to be something that they're not. All right, like Damein was saying, they look beautiful in the picture, but then when you get in person, you have to double check the picture to make sure it's not them.
Yeah.
So be honest. If you're going to do online dating, make sure that you're honest with your pictures, who you are, your age, because at the end of the day, honesty is actually the best thing right off the gate.
Yeah, because people will post pictures from 15, 20 years ago, and this is what I tell guys as well, kind of be wary of those camera shots of what women post on there, because if they say that they're skinny, petite, athletic, whatever the case may be, and they're taking these camera angles, to try to slim themselves down, you got to be aware of that. So always look and notice the camera angle from the photo, because sometimes that can be kind of that can be a tell. That's a big time red flag. Big time red flag.
So we're talking about online dating. For those who just joined, make sure that listen, you guys share and make sure you guys subscribe down below. We need you guys to subscribe and make sure that you guys share because these are things that we're really talking about, not just dating, but the safety of doing online dating. Because the last thing you want to do is be on one of those TV programs on Lifetime. Because listen, we laugh about it, but
Right.
it's real,
Or you
David.
end up being on the first 48.
On the 48 hours, right? You don't want to be a 48 hour. So listen, make sure you take the time and tell people when you're going on a date so that they can actually know, okay, Damon, I'm going out on a date. Just if you don't hear back from me, call me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Because the last thing you want to know is that you went on a date with somebody that was crazy, and then you never been heard from again.
Yeah, safety is a big must, and that goes for men and women. You know, your safety is your concern, especially when you're first meeting someone. So, um, you know, let someone know that you're going on a date. Women, that you're going on a date with such and such, such and such. You know, so that way, if he ends up being crazy, deranged, or just out of his mind, that you've already told someone. So that way you'll be safe. And they'll know where to locate you.
Yes, and so okay, so we went on a little bit online on that's just one of the online dating, and then we got speed dating. Man, when I saw this, I thought of McDonald's. You know, like you want your French fries and soda, and you want it right now. Well, speed dating, for you guys that don't know, is an opportunity where two people sit down and they give them about 5 to 10 minutes, and they actually ask questions, and then at the end of that 5 to 10 minutes, they can fill out a card to say yes, I would like to see them again, or no, I don't want to see them again. If you guys do speed dating, please reach out to me because I'd like to know how your experience went with speed dating. I've never done speed dating.
I've never done it either.
And so I think that would be very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. The only time I've seen speed dating is on movies. I've never seen it in person, so I don't know how that works.
Well, it says it lasts for about 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So
So is there like an MC that does everything?
So you get to rotate on a table with different people at the same time.
Okay. Okay.
So if you guys have done speed dating, please let me know how your experience went with speed dating, how it works. I'm actually I think what we might do, I'm going to try to get onto an opportunity to go and maybe visit a speed dating opportunity to see what it is. And then we will bring it to you live on speed dating. Because I actually would like to know what.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was just fantasy.
Yeah, it's not in the movie.
It's okay.
It's real.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not just in the movie. So I got my bear notes. So we got blind dating. Now, blind dating. Damein, have you ever been set up on a blind date?
Man, it's probably been like 25 years ago.
Blind dating.
25 years ago. And I was telling one of my friends, he said, man, I want you to meet my girlfriend's girlfriend. I said, okay. He goes, but I just want you to meet her. And I was thinking, since his girlfriend was pretty attractive, then it'd be no big deal. I had never met her, never talked to her or anything. Like I said, it's been a long time, but that situation worked out pretty well. I think I got lucky because my friend's girlfriend, all her friends were cute. So, but we ended up dating for what, 3 or 4 years. So it worked out pretty good. I mean, blind dating, it's a risk, but it's something just to get your adrenaline going. It can work, especially if it's through a mutual friend and that person is dating he or his or her boyfriend or whatever the case may be. It can work. It can. So.
Well, I think sometimes too is when we set up people on blind dates, because I've known people that try to set people up on blind dates. Don't set them up with somebody that they're not even close
Right.
of working out together.
Right. That happens.
You're setting up your friend. If you call them a friend, you're going to set them up for failure. Right? He works at 7-Eleven, and he's a doctor.
Right.
Now, the odds of that, Damein, is pretty low.
Yeah, it's low. It's low. Yeah,
right?
And that reminds me. That reminds me of you guys probably remember, but in the movie Friday, when Smokey was meeting a girlfriend. It was a friend of Craig's meeting her girlfriend. She told Smokey on the phone that she looked like Janet Jackson. And then, so when she finally pulled up and he met her, he was like, "Oh my God, you look more like Freddie Jackson." She was huge. I mean, just nasty looking, you know. And so he was just. But before that, he was just so hyped up to meet her because the whole time she was telling him that she looked like Janet Jackson. So situations like that can happen, you know. So you really want to be careful.
And then we have double dating, right? Double date. Jamie, have you gone on a double date?
Man, I've been on a lot of them, and actually, double dating is very good. Uh, and I'll say this why: um if you're really considering committing to someone, and you know, like I said, say your friend is dating a girl, and you're dating your friend's girl's friend, and you guys end up working out, then double dating is awesome because you know it's the couple thing, it's fun, and you know it can lead to something. I mean, really really spectacular. But the con to that is that if y'all don't get along, that can possibly cause friction between your friend and his girlfriend. So yeah, double dating has its pros and cons, and I don't mind doing it. It doesn't have to even be the friend thing. Um, you know, you could have met your friend's girlfriend or vice versa, and you know you're dating someone, and your friends never met the person that you're dating, and you say like, hey man, let's go out and double date. Let's go do this. Let's go Dave and Buster. Let's go out to eat. Let's go Six Flags. I mean, that can be fun. That can be really fun. And usually situations like that, uh, I've noticed that people that double date are trying to get committed to each other, or at the point to where you know they're pushing towards marriage and things like that. So yeah, double dates can be a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
So let me know, you guys. Listen, let me know if you guys double date, what that experience is like. Maybe a story that you guys have gone out on a double date. Uh, Again, you guys can either reach me on Facebook, or if you want to send me a text your story, or message me your story, or you can email me datingwithabear@gmail.com. I would love to hear your stories. And if you guys actually are live right now, if you guys would like to come on and tell me a story of an experience that you've had, or good or bad, please let me know. Send the invite. I would love to be able to hear your story. So, double dating, I think a lot of times could be, like you said, Damien, a good thing. But a lot of times, I also believe that you have to be very sure that you're setting your friend up with somebody that's really going to be compatible.
Right.
Because the last thing you want to do is set up your friend with someone that's a crazy.
Right. And you know, looks is one thing, but a person's because men, we're visual creatures, okay? But a person's personality, man, I mean, that can either, like I said, that's hit or miss. So, you know, and you know, hopefully that, you know, if you haven't met that person for, I mean, hopefully you guys hit it off. Or if y'all don't hit, it's gonna be a long night, a long night. But usually, I mean, like my friends when they used to set me up to double date, they knew the type of woman that I like, and as far as the type of woman that, as far as the personality and the looks. So most times it would work out. It work out in my favor. So I know a lot of my friends were good at doing that, and vice versa. I would do that to them. So I mean, we had to pick each other's brain to find out, you know, what this person like. I mean, you've been with your friends, what, like a lot of my friends I've known more than 10 years, so they know my tastes and I know theirs. So we normally wouldn't have any problems there. Now, I will say this, and this is kind of like outside of the subject, but when you go out and you're picking up women and your friend talks to an attractive person and you're playing the wingman and that girl's friend is not attractive, but you got to take one for the team. Woo, man, that right there can be rough because you don't want to make that situation bad for your friend.
Yeah.
So you got to play along with it. You got to play along with it, you know, until he, you know, whatever his agenda is, get what he wants. So, you know, situations like that. Now that, you know,
Well, I think you want to keep the friendship.
yeah.
You know, you want to keep the friendship.
But sometimes that can break friendship.
If you know, if you know that, hey, just I would say to him, listen, don't ever set me up with someone like that again. Right? I mean, you got to really be real with people, and really tell them, listen, I know you had best intentions, but you know that I don't like. I mean, it could be anything. You set me up with a girl with purple hair, right? And a complete opposite.
Right.
So yes, so always consider before you set someone up on a date, make sure that you really consider and weigh it out.
Right.
And say, is this going to ruin my friendship if this goes sour?
Right.
Right?
Right. But you know, if you're the friend that's being set, like I said, that's being set up, you know, yeah, you're gonna want to take one for the team. You know, whether you know after the night is over with, whatever the case may be, then you go back and you tell your friend, hey man, look, this ain't gonna work out. It's just not gonna work.
Right.
So you're gonna talk to them after and say, hey man, we got to compromise. We've got to figure something out because you know this one right here, she is not my cup of tea. So I don't know what you want me to do, but we got to talk. We got to figure this out. In a lot of cases, like, man, you know, shoot, man, well, let me, man, I don't know, because she's expecting us to go out this weekend. Be like, ooh, oh, you got to take one for the team, you know. So.
Now, I would say this, too, on a blind date. Don't give out your phone number unless you really know that you're going to go back out with them or you think it's going to work. Because she may call you and say, Damein, I had a great time. Did you?
Right. You're kind of like, yeah, I had a real good time.
Right?
Yeah.
Now she's got your number. So think about that. Before you give your number out, make sure that it's going to work. Because otherwise, she's going to be calling you thinking, man, we had a great time.
Right.
And you're like,
ooh, I don't know how I'm going to do this.
Right?
So
that's something to consider before you give your number, especially on a blind date, and you have friendship involved. Make sure that you really, you can let them know in a very nice way. We had a great time. I appreciate it. And what do you say, Damein? What do you say if she says, well, Damein, I'd love to have another date. Can I have your number? What is your response?
Oh man, like I said, man, it depends on.
That's a crazy one.
Yeah, it you know, like I said, man, I'm a team player, so, and I don't like to deceive anyone, but if it's gonna hurt my chances, hurt my friend's chances, you know, possibly, you know, getting to know her friend a little bit better, you know, I'll take one for the team, you know, yeah. But you know, after they get closer and they start, you know, becoming a couple, I'm gone. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm like out. So I'll take one for the team. But you know, a lot of times I haven't had to do that. So I mean, there's a lot of guys that I've heard horror stories when they had to. So I mean, and they know sometimes you got to take one for the team. You know, because you know you don't want to mess it up for your friend.
Okay, so that's some good points I think Damein really brought out. Listen, there's a way of doing it. Number one, make sure that they're compatible. Number two, make sure that if the dates didn't work out, make sure that you consider how we say something to let someone know and you're not going to hurt their feelings or your friendship down the road.
Right. Just tell them, just say, hey, it was nice meeting you. It was a pleasure meeting you, and I enjoyed our time together. But I just don't think the two of us, are really gonna have that connection with each other. Just be honest. And hopefully by then, your friend is still not in the in the honeymoon stage.
Yeah, yeah.
So just be honest and just let them know. So
Okay, Damon, why don't you tell people a little bit about your book? Listen, for you guys that don't know, this is Damien. He's a great friend and written a great book. I'm going to have him tell you about his book real fast and where you can pick up the book. And I'm going to go get something to drink. So I'll be right back. But Damien's going to tell you about his book.
this is the Game Advice Dawn of the Prodigy, Volume 1. It's a three-part series of the Game Advice trilogy. This is Volume 1, which came out last July. I'm working on Volume 2 right now, which I'm hoping to have out this June coming up. But it's a great book. Like I said, I wrote this book 3 years ago, and I was beginning to, I shelved it, put it to the side, and I was working on a totally new book. Well, I said, while I was writing my new book, I said, I really got to get the Game Advice out because it's an introductory book to the whole Game Advice trilogy. So, timing is everything. So I got it out last July, and basically, the book is a self-help book for men. Of course, it can be read by women as well. You can pick it up on Amazon. We don't have the link posted up just yet, but just type in my name, Damein, Damein Williams, when you go to Amazon, and it'll pull up this book, as well as I have another book, Attraction Story Up. It'll pull that one up as well. As well, it's going to pull up also three writing notebooks. So, and the writing notebooks, I have two writing notebooks for this book as well. Basically, the Game Advice, I talk about in the book how, the world is a chess game. It's a chess game, whether it's, trying to become successful, whether it's dating, marriage, whatever the case may be. You have to make certain moves in life in order to be successful with different situations. So the first part of the book, I talk about the masculine frame for men, which of course, can lead to different things as far as a man having a masculine frame. But I bring out I talk about the important traits that a man must have, and like I said, this is through trial and error, and this is from me studying successful people, as well as some mistakes. God knows I've made a lot of mistakes. Some of the mistakes that I've made. So I talk about what a man must have as far as your masculine frame, your character, your integrity, your charisma, and some other things. That's the first part of the masculine frame. I wrote it because I felt that there were some things in other books that didn't focus on the key traits that a man should have. So I put in key traits in the masculine frame section of this book that I believe that a man should have. And the second half of the book is your lifestyle with marriage, dating, family, and things like that. So, your lifestyle is very important because, in relationships, when you're dating and you just like to commit to someone, and I tell people this all the time, I said, a relationship can make or break you depending on the mate that you bring into your life. And, a lot of us, we've all made bad decisions as far as mates. things like that. But I tell people, I say, listen, man, and you guys end up getting married, have kids, and you're not with the right person. That that can set you up for failure and possibly destroy the rest of your life. And so I talk about also online dating. I talk about what to look for in a mate, um, some of the characteristics, and I go really, really deep into that in the volume 2 of the Game Advice trilogy. But as far as marriage, dating, meeting, going out clubbing, bars, clubs, things like that, your do's and don'ts. I talk about that in this book. And I don't know who drinks and smokes and does whatever. I don't know who does this, but I'll give you an example. I don't drink. I don't drink. I stopped drinking, and probably what, 5, 6 years ago. And it wasn't that. Uh, what it was is alcohol just started tasting bad to me. But what I talk about in my book is that if you're with someone and one person is a drinker and the other person isn't, that's not gonna work. And I remember watching Chris Rock, one of his stand-ups, when he says two crackheads can be together, but if one person smokes crack and the other one doesn't, it ain't gonna work. So I talk about a little bit about the vices, and some of the similarities that you and your mate must have in common. And those are some of the key areas that we need to focus on, because we have to have a lot of things in common with you choosing your mate or you being with the mate, or it's not going to work. It's not. So if this person has 10 vices and this person has no vices, it's not going to work. You're setting yourself up for failure. So, and it took me a long time, to understand that, because I've been in a lot of situations to where, she liked to drink, I didn't. You know, she, there were certain things she liked and I didn't like, and so we were always butting heads, and it just wouldn't work out. So, I mean, some things you have to compromise on, but with the big areas as far as your dating and relationships, I mean, there is no compromise. So like I said, one person cannot have vices and the person not having it. It's not going to work. So I talk about that in this book. Some of the do's and don'ts. As far as marriage and dating. So it's a really good read. Like I said, this is an introductory book, and actually it was the setup for the one that I'm working on right now. But a lot of people love this book. And like I said, it's a self-help book for men, but needs to be read by women also. So I just focus on the key areas for this introductory book that us men that we need to focus on, to avoid, I mean, toxic situations. So, and like I said, I've been there, and I talk and I like to coach guys on do's and don'ts. So, and this book is a great read. So, pick it up on Amazon, and I also have that book in Kindred Creatives in Music City Mall in Louisville, Texas. So it's in my friend's store. She owns a bookstore. It's in her store. So it's there. You can pick it up there as well. Um, there is the Kindle version on Amazon. But I always tell people, me personally, I like to have a book in hand instead of downloading it and reading from it. I like to have my book in hand. So there is the Kindle version online as well, and you can order the book and have it in your hand. So that's what the Game Advice is about. And like I said, the second volume 2 to that, I'm shooting for June, but I really got to get a lot of things across in this second book that I didn't include in the first book, and it's done that way for a reason, to catch the reader's attention. So the second book is going to be a lot more detailed, like some of the subjects that I talk about as far as the second book, as far as give an example for a man who wants to get married, and nowadays for men, we're dealing with the modern woman. We're not dealing with the same woman like when Big Mama was around. We're not dealing with that kind of woman. So, and like I said, I don't knock marriage, but what I tell men is you have to be very careful nowadays. And this is what I'm including in volume 2 of this Game Advice trilogy. You have to be careful. And for us men nowadays, we have to make sure that if we commit to someone, that that woman is a ride or die chick. And I break down what a ride or die chick is in volume 2 on the book that I'm waiting on. So you have to have that kind of woman because we're dealing with a different woman nowadays. And there's a lot of other different subjects that I talk about in the book. But like I said, it'd be finished probably around June. I should be finished around June. But it's gonna be much more detailed than the first book. So pick it up. It's a great read, and you guys will enjoy it. I promise you.
Listen, guys. Now listen. I read the book myself. And I can tell you that I think that everyone should take the time to get this book in your hand. Doesn't do no good to have knowledge and not apply it to our lives. So you got to have the ability to open a book, read it, and apply it. And so,
and like I said, people, this is coming from experience as well as me studying other people. Because that's what I do. I do a lot of research. I study other people, and a lot of the situations that I talk about in my book, I've gone through myself, so I know the right way to approach things. There's a quote that says, show me a wise man, and I'll show you a wise man that's made a lot of mistakes. So what I try to do, I try to prevent men from making the same mistakes that I've made and that I've seen other people make. Because truth be told, you don't have a lot of time in this life to make a lot of mistakes. So you need to learn from other people who have made them and that can teach you on it.
so yes, I think a lot of times, and Damein is absolutely right. We don't have a lot of time. Listen, this what you're getting, what we're talking about today, online dating, various different dating. Listen, you better get it figured out because at the end of the day, life is short. It is really short. And you don't have time to go through one marriage, another marriage, till you figure it out. And now by then you got 3 kids. So make sure that, listen, especially if you say you're a Christian, you're a believer, and you read the word and you study it, listen, you have to know that you have to be equally, the Bible says be equally yoked, which means that you need to be able to go down 2 ox. They gave a demonstration of these 2 ox, and you have a tall ox and a short ox, and they're trying to plow a field. That field can't get plowed because they're 2 different types of ox that are trying to pull the same thing. So make sure that you guys realize, make sure that you know what you want and set yourself standards in your relationships when you're dating. And don't compromise. Don't compromise because you think time is running out. Make sure that you really know if you want someone who's a homebody, make sure that they're going to be a homebody. If you're still in the party mood, then the person that you're going to be with who's a homebody probably isn't going to work out. And there's 2 different types of people. So anyway, let's continue on. Now this one's good. Now this one here, Damein, serious dating. Serious dating. Now, my thing about this is I want you guys to understand, not everybody that you are going to go out on a date with is going to consider this date to be serious. You may get somebody that you're dating a casual dater. He is not looking for long-term relationships. So you need to know, am I dating someone who is actually going to be a serious dater? That you really want to build something with? Now, Damein, let me ask you this question. How long does it take for you, just in general, how long do you think you should date somebody before you even think about getting married?
6 months to a year.
6 months to a year. I have to agree.
Easy. That's an easy answer. 6 months to a year. And even then, like I said, depending on how much quality time that you spend with each other, you fully don't know a person, but in general terms, 6 months to a year.
Now, what do you think about people who date people for 3 or 4 years?
Well, I don't think anything is wrong with that. Like I said, for me personally, for me to even consider whether I probably want to marry this person or not, consider it 6 months to a year. Now, people that have dated 3 to 4 years, you know, I'm pretty sure they've discussed it because they've been together for a long time. And I know that woman. I know that woman is in that man's ear, especially if she's fully committed to him. About she's brought something up about a wedding ring. She's brought it to his attention. That's a long time to be with someone and not have not talked about marriage. But like I said, each situation is different. So with me, I'd say for the average person, 6 months to a year. I mean, to me, that's long enough. So, but there are all those people that believe, 3 to 4 years, and they still, haven't even, they discussed it, but for whatever reason, they don't want to settle down. So that's to each, to each of his own. So, but to the average person, like I said, 6 months to a year. So, whatever those people that have been dating 3 to 4 years got going on, I have no idea. So it could be or whatever, and we don't even want to talk about moving in with each other.
Oh man,
because because if you're with a person 3 to 4 years and you two are living separate, man, oof, I don't know how that would work. Good luck. But the people that I've known that have been together 2, 3, 4 years, they eventually moved in with each other. And that's to see how, if they were decided to get married, to see how their potential mate lives, if they would get along or whatever the case may be. So, and people, like I said, people that have dated that long, most of the time, people I know, they live with each other. Because 3 to 4 years is a long time to just be dating someone and you guys living separate.
Well, this now for me. I have to say, listen, you should know within 6 months to a year if this person is marriage material. Now, two things are happening if that man decides after 3 or 4 years he doesn't want to marry you. One, he had a previous horrible marriage and he's comfortable in the relationship he's at. And so that probably means that that individual needs some healing, because a lot of times we don't want to go down the same road, Damein.
Right.
That we've already been hurt,
right.
We've been disappointed, and yes, we may be comfortable living with that person,
right.
Because we don't want to take. What you'll hear people say all the time, well, why mess it up?
Right. And
why mess it up? Everything's going good. When you put that ring on the finger, man, everything's going to go.
If you've had bad relationships in the past, or if you've been heartbroken, or whatever the case may be, you don't, it's hard for you to trust a man or a woman. My personal opinion, you need to get some therapy or, or talk to someone, counseling or whatever the case may be before you even think about dating a person, period. Because you don't want to bring your past to your present, which equals no future.
That's bare fast. Let me tell you what, that's bare fantastic news, what Damein just said. Listen, getting counseling does not make you a weak person. A lot of times, I just had somebody reach out to me about counseling. Now, before I forget, today's broadcast, I want to make sure I bring this in. Today's broadcast is brought to you by the Social Butterfly. Now, listen, if you guys are needing a face for your brand, make sure you guys reach out to the Social Butterfly. And she can actually help you, like me, start a face for the brand. Now, and I'm saying that because a lot of times we think we can't, we stop in the process because we don't know how to brand, we don't know what ideas, the Social Butterfly, listen, a bear would not trust nothing else but the Social Butterfly. So if you have any questions on that, please inbox me. And you can also reach her on Facebook. You can actually click on her link. If you visit Dating with a Bear on Facebook, you can go on down below. Actually, I'm going to leave a link where you can go and get a face of your brand today with the Social Butterfly. So let's get back at it. Now, so this is very interesting. So I'm going to read to you. It says, when two people only date each other, care for each other, and are in love with each other, they are a couple. Now, sometimes, because there's a breakdown in communication, people date each other and they assume that they are a couple. Right? You've been on 6, 8 dates, and you think, oh man, we're together.
Right. And it's funny you brought that up because I always tell men this. Listen, you don't want to bring that up. Let the woman bring that up. Men, you don't want to do that. But, it's just natural, or you want things to flow, the natural order of things. So if you've been together 2-3 months, you guys go out, and then next thing you know, y'all are holding hands, and she knows the waiter, the waitress, y'all go out to eat, said, oh, this is my boyfriend. And they're like, oh, okay. So I guess we are a couple. I always tell men that, to let her do that.
So now, I agree with you, Damein. I think that you need, as a man, you need to see how things go before assuming that you guys are together.
Right.
Because a lot of times you get in dangerous territory and dangerous ground assuming that you guys are together.
Yeah.
Because now, if she sees another girl over your house, she's thinking, whoa, fireworks are going to blow up, because she thought that you and him were together, and man, we've got fireworks out of the sky. So listen, make sure you have clear communication on that.
Yeah, you don't want to end up being on the first 48.
Now,
it happens.
Here's the other thing. On a serious relationship, you want to make sure that you have the idea of getting married. Because on all these other dating is not talking about marriage. If someone, you go out on a date and the next date they say, I want to marry you, you better run. You better run. Because there's something wrong with that person that says, I want to marry you after one date.
Get ghost.
Go. Gone. Now, I'm saying that because don't assume that that person that you're going to date just assumes that you're in it for the long haul. Like, you really need to know. Like, you really need to know. And then you need to have those serious conversations. And then, David, what do you think about on the aspect of talking about your kids on the first date? Do you think that you should say, hey, I got 2 kids, or I have a child on the first date? Do you think that should be a subject that is brought right out to the gate?
Well, if for men, if a woman brings it up now of course you want to be honest with them and tell the truth. So like I said, I tell guys, and me personally, I don't get into that. But if it leads into that, yes, you want to be straightforward and be honest and tell the truth. Because believe it or not, some women, don't want to date a man with kids and vice versa. So, and I'll tell you my theory on that. But yeah, if it's brought to the table, I don't think as men we should bring that up. But it's gonna come up as far as children. And truth be told, before y'all even go out on a date, more than likely y'all have already conversated about it on the phone. More than likely. So you'll know right then. Because once you're trying to set up a date, that woman's gonna ask you, hey, you have any kids? I have 2 kids. She's gonna ask you what you do. You're gonna ask her what she does for a living. So children will eventually come into that conversation. So yeah, you want to be honest. You don't want to be deceitful and lie about anything like that. So
Well, I think right off the bat, let me tell you what, hey, if I was going on a date, let me tell you what, first time I plot down, hey, I got a couple kids.
right, right.
Because, listen, it's going to either break or make right there. Right there, they're either going to run or they're going to say, no, I don't want anything to do. Because at the end of the day, listen, you're going to know, listen, and then, you got to have those real conversations. Because one thing I see a lot of is, now you have women too that they introduce the new boyfriend right out of the gate.
Right.
And then they do the next one and the next one and the next one. And then that boy or daughter says, boy, my mom gets around.
Right. And I mean, the women, I can say this for the women because I really don't really date women with children like that, but the ones that I have dated, they're really picky about the men they want to bring around their children. So that can go, depending on how serious you and her get, she might not bring you around her children for months. Like I said, the ones that I've dated that had children, most of them are at the house by now. But if the woman is very protective over her children, she's just not going to bring any man around right then and there.
Well, I just want to iterate a little bit on the kids. So when I got here, my mama bear already had some cubs, right? So I already knew, listen, hey, I already know what I'm signing up for, right? And then, but you have to realize too is that you have to allow the process, because it's not just you and her that are going through it. It's going to be that child, various ages. It could be 5 years old, 9, 12, 17, and they're all going to respond differently. So don't take it personal if that woman doesn't bring, or that man doesn't bring the kids around immediately.
Right.
In fact, in my opinion, you need to make sure it works out first, then have that conversation with the kids, right? Because that doesn't mean you fell in love with them, doesn't mean the kids are going to fall in love with them.
Right.
We assume that the kids are going to love them. But don't assume that those kids are going to love that man right off the bat, because there's a transition. And it's one thing that we just do that a lot, especially if you already have kids and then you're jumping in the dating game and they have kids. Before you know it, you guys are together and the kids have no idea that you were even seeing anybody.
Right.
Right? So make sure you have that real conversation with them that, hey, listen, mommy or daddy, right? I'm thinking about dating. How do you feel about it? Like you need to ask them, how do they feel about it? And then have a conversation about it. Because the last thing you want is to have a great relationship on a dating platform going smooth, and then here comes the kids, and they're just ready to blow it up, right? So,
and let me just throw something out there. In most cases, like I said before, a lot of women won't bring you around their children until they feel comfortable. And like I said, that can take however long it takes. Especially if that woman has a daughter, that's gonna be a tough one. So that woman's gonna really have to get to know you in order to bring you around that daughter. And that's the same thing with boys as well, but especially for that daughter. And I tell men, I say, hey, look, man, oh, Damein, well, I'm dating this girl, man. She's got two daughters. Ooh, listen, be careful with it. I'm not telling you not to do it. Just be careful, be on your P's and Q's. And it's a risk. Me personally, I can't do that. That's too much of a risk, for me to be around a woman that has a daughter. It's just too much. Because you hear horror stories about men being around a woman's daughter for dating, and this happens and that happens, and it does not work out in your favor. So, but like I said, a lot of women, at least the ones I've met, are really hesitant to bring you around those kids in general at first. I mean, you guys are really gonna have to see hit it, and then maybe months around the road, then she'll introduce you to her children. But by then, I guarantee you, she's already talked to her children about you. So but she's not gonna bring you around her children unless she's comfortable with you and y'all been dating a while. She's just not gonna do it. The people that I've seen and the women, they're not gonna do that.
Now, so those are some really good points, Damein. That again, like you said, you have to realize that if you are going to step into the dating game with someone that has kids, you've got to be able to understand it's going to take some time. Don't rush it. And I'm going to give you a red flag. Now, here's a red flag for a lot of you moms out there. Here's a red flag. There will be men that will use your kids as pawns to get to you. What do I mean by that? So you go on a date, you guys decide to meet. Oh, I love Junior. Right? And he goes and shows you all this love for your child. And they buy a PlayStation, whatever it might be. You start seeing this man buying material things for your son or your daughter. Well, here's Junior. Let me give Junior $100, right? Now I'm saying that because there are men that really do that. They pawn the kids, and then when they get into the relationship, Junior's no longer important. Right?
Yeah.
Like you have head games. Like you have men that will play head games with your kids in the dating So make sure that you understand that you need to watch the interaction with your kids, with someone you're dating, and then make sure that you realize it's going to take time for that process to happen.
Right. And I'm gonna play devil's advocate with that real quick. Let's flip flop it for men.
Or men.
If men have children,
Yeah.
and you know, if in most cases the children are gonna be with the woman, but there are those rare cases where the children live with the men. You know, if me and that woman get along, I believe most men don't have a problem if that woman, she seems genuine, you know, she seems like she's on her P's and Q's, she's a good person. Most men don't have a problem bringing that woman around their children. But flip to the other side, women will have a problem bringing that man around their children. So, and it's just a protection thing as far as women. You know, women are very protective of their cubs. You know, us men, we don't worry about that. You know, as long as that woman, she's not crazy, psycho, deranged. You know, we really don't worry. I know I don't really. So, but you know, that's just the protection factor as far as women. But men in general.
Well, and I also think, here's the other thing, I think sometimes now, because you have kids involved, remember, with those kids, you have an ex. Yeah. Right? You have an ex. And you guys go out and have a good time with some movie and popcorn. And you come home, and that ex is in the driveway. Right? Who is this guy? Right? Or who's this woman? Right? And you didn't even consider. You gotta be, again, this is a warning sign. You need to know that you get out there and step in the dating game. You need to have that conversation.
Yeah, y'all need to discuss that.
You need to have that conversation, because otherwise that popcorn's gonna be everywhere.
Right. Or the baby daddy just got out of the penitentiary and he shows up, you know, at his baby mama's door while you're there, and then all hell breaks loose. You know, I mean, you guys got to talk about that kind of stuff. So, I mean, you know, a lot of men are very protective over their children, very protective over their children. So you don't want that guy to get some unexpected surprises from your ex.
Yeah, me, I tell you what, you don't ever want a lion, a female lion. You know, you watch them in the wild. Let me tell you what, you mess with the little babies, and they're going to come hauling and ripping you into pieces. Mm-hmm. So you need to know, and that is a real conversation you need to have, because those are things, listen, not everyone is going to be okay with you moving forward. If you have an ex, don't assume that they're okay with you moving forward into a new relationship and dating. And there may be circumstances that you're going to have to, have a third party. Things may get really sticky. And so that new person that you're bringing in, you need to make sure that you have that conversation and say, listen, I have a wild one over here. Like, if we go on a date and you come back and your tires flash, like, you need to know that's a possibility. Yeah. Now, I don't want that to scare you away, but that is a possibility. It's
very possible.
Right?
Very possible.
So you need, we're talking about dating here, and these are things that, again, don't assume just because you're dating that ex, either a woman or a man, is going to be okay. I watched a series one time, Damien. Mm-hmm. I mean, this woman jumped on the car, grabbed the windshield wipers and busted them off. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Because she was like, you're not going nowhere. Yeah. Right? So those are things that so if you're going to get in a dating game, make sure that you have a conversation with your significant ex, and understand that it's going to be some turmoil, and so you need to be ready and have a plan what you're going to do if things go sour, right? No man wants another man to step in and play the daddy role.
Nope.
No, that is not going to happen. No man is going to want any man to come in and lay their hands on. I'm telling you, that's a war that's going to that will break out.
Right, and so and me, like it's funny you brought that up. Me personally, I avoid that situation altogether. Kids got to be out the house, no little itty bitty ones. And the reason why it has nothing to do with women. I don't date women with children. It's because of those factors right there. You got the daughter factor. You got the X factor. And that situation is very dangerous for men. Because like you said, that X does not want that new man playing daddy to his children. So I avoid that situation altogether.
Well, and now here's always one that always bothered me. Now, understand, we're talking to a vast number of you guys out there, of vast different ages. I want to say this because I've seen this happen, and I want you to understand this. When you are dating someone, do not have that other man or your kids and force them to call that person their daddy. Because a lot of you women and a lot of you men out there, while you're dating, you're making them call yours because you want them to be, listen, that's very destructive. You're destructing that young child. He already has a dad. They already have a mom. So don't make that little child or to make them call them something. Be responsible enough. So if you are a person out there, listen, make sure you don't do that. Because that's what it just drives me crazy. When I say it drives me crazy, I mean it drives me crazy when I see that. So, but I mean, what time is it, Damien?
Oh man, it's what 8:12?
8:12. Okay.
Let me just say this real quick,
Okay.
real quick. Now we're on the subject. I have a friend right now. He's still married. They're separated. She has 3 kids. 3 kids. Okay.
Oh man, yeah.
She's got a son. She's got 2 sons. One is a senior in high school. Her the other son is in his 30s. So my friend was telling me, and her daughter is like, I don't know, 9 or something like that. My friend he was just telling me this 3 weeks ago. He said, Damien, he said, man, uh, her son that's in high school, he's getting ready to sign, he got a football scholarship, man. But he's tried to buck up to me a couple of times, wanting to fight me, and he talks back. I said, well, hey man, I said, did she say anything to him about him being disrespectful? I said, no, she didn't say a thing. And so eventually,
Wow.
yeah. And so eventually, right now, so eventually, he ended up leaving the house. They're separated, and now she's trying to get him back. And I told him, I said, man, I said, listen, and listen, this is what he told me. He said her oldest son, told the son that's a senior in high school, hey man, well look, if he try to get in your face, put his hands on you, I'm gonna come over there, I'm gonna knock his ass out. Just situations like that. Because like I said, I've had friends. I have a friend right now that's going through that. That is just too toxic and too much. And my friend, he's a good dude, man. He's a good dude. It's just that she doesn't discipline her children to respect him, and that's a problem.
Well, let me say this. I think you have to understand too, when we're on the dating, when you're dating someone, especially in a serious dating, I'm talking to those people that are really looking to marry this person. You need to have that conversation. How do you feel about discipline? How are we going to run the house? Are we going to have rules? Is there limits in what we're going to allow? Because a lot of times too is that you need to have this conversation prior of putting on the ring, not after, prior. So when you're dating someone, make sure that you guys have that discussion. If you have kids, make sure you have that discussion how you're going to do that. If you have a hard time maybe being in a place where you guys don't know how to do that or communicate that, make sure you guys reach out and get counseling, and make sure you guys take the time to get some family counseling, not just individually, but as a family. Now, before I go, listen, you guys can, if you need some counseling and would like to be able to have some spiritual counseling or relationship or marriage counseling, please inbox me again on my messenger. If there's something personal you would like to share with me, then I will be more happy to sit down with you and see what we're dealing with. But I always have a free initial consultation with everybody, but I will say this, that a bear can counsel as best that they can, but you have to work the tools in it to make it work. All the counseling in the world will not ever save your marriage. You have to be able to take what you've learned and apply it. So if you are ready to make that step and you would like to have some sessions one-on-one, please reach out to me, inbox me. I'll be more than happy to sit down if it's family counseling, relationship, or marriage, whatever that you are looking or needing. Please inbox me. And again, guys, thank you again for joining. And make sure you pick up Damien's book. Let me see your book again, Damien. Listen, make sure you guys pick up this book in case you guys have a hard time reading. I want to make sure you guys can see. And this can be found on Amazon. And again, a great, great book. So make sure that you guys get out there and get the book. And I thank you guys again for joining me. And Damien here today. And listen, guys, we're going to be gone. Now, we may go into a Tuesday, but we may not be doing it live on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But please, make sure you guys share this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to our TikTok channel, our YouTube channel, and our Facebook and Instagram. Listen, and if you are interested of having me come out to your business or to come out and speak, please reach out to me for speaking engagements. I'll be more than happy to come out and see what you have. Anything else left for you to say, Damien?
No, I just say, I want to tell everyone, don't be scared. Don't live your life in fear.
Yes, that's a good one.
Relationships are risks. So be cautious, but don't approach it with a fear approach. They're risks. So, eventually, you'll find someone that you see eye to eye with, and maybe good things can go from there. But don't go into it when you're dating with fear. Don't do that. So
Yeah.
not everybody is gonna click. Some people are gonna click with some people you aren't. Just approach it with, hey, be happy, go look and say, hey, I'm meeting a new person. This is good. This is great. Let's see if their personality clicks with mine.
That's good. Yes, that's good. Hey, before I go, listen, I just want to do a bear prayer for you guys real quick. Lord, we just thank you for allowing us to come on to this broadcast. We just ask that, Lord, if there's some word that we've been able to share with the people on today, that, Lord, that you would just allow them to know that, like Damien said, don't go into it with fear, but allow them, Lord, to lean to you and for understanding, guidance, and wisdom. And Lord, we just thank you for allowing us to be here today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. If you guys have been blessed, listen, make sure you guys give us bears and or what, if you don't have a bear, you can do a happy face, I guess. But if you have a bear, make sure you guys share that. And we will see you same time, same place next week. And again, God bless, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Book where you can get the book, and then I'll be right back.